Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Dennis Prager Show, coming to you from Cleveland and my great station here, WHK. And I'll tell you how, one of the many ways, and how great it is. We have a very large audience here. Immediately got off the plane, and the man standing at the gateway, love your show, and got a number of those. It's a good way of telling, but I know from the number of calls. Tonight, my event with Adam Carolla. I'll be watching the vice presidential debate after the event, obviously. But those of you who are in Cleveland and want a terrific evening, if there are still seats, just check my website, Adam Carolla Dennis Prager event. There is a great deal of talk about. One of my favorite thinkers with regard to American politics is John Fund, who is on the line, and he has a new book out, Who's Counting? How Fraudsters and Bureaucrats Put Your Vote at Risk. First of all, hello, John.
Pleasure, Dennis. Thank you.
Thank you. I watched you. You didn't know this. There's no way that you could have, needless to say. I was watching you, I think it was Book TV. You gave a speech, I think, at the Heritage Foundation. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So I was watching you. You have given the most eloquent defense of voter ID that I have heard. I just need you to know that. And
well, it's a serious problem, and I'm glad people are finally talking about it after years of pushing it to the sidelines and hoping it would go away. The issue of voter fraud, it hasn't gone away, and we have to address it because we may be looking at the closest election, well, even closer than the 2000 Bush v. Gore election, and a few votes can make a difference.
All right, well, let me then ask the one that is most often posed to me by Democrats who are against the voter ID laws, and they say, you folks talk about voter fraud, but we have not had any example of this in all of the last, 20 years or whatever it is. You guys are making up a problem that doesn't really exist. How do you respond to that?
You know, it's unbecoming to laugh out loud on the radio, so I'll refrain from that. But let's just say that you go to the 2008 Senate race between Al Franken and Norm Coleman. Al Franken won by 312 votes after 8 months of legal battles, and he was seated as the 60th vote for Obamacare. It wouldn't have passed without 60 votes to break a filibuster against it. We have Obamacare because of Al Franken's vote. We now know, through the work of Minnesota Majority Watchdog Group, there's irrefutable proof that 1,200 felons voted illegally in that election. 1,200 in a margin of 312 votes. Now, we can't be sure how they voted, but when Fox News went out and interviewed a bunch of them, 9 out of 10 said Al Franken. Now, you can't prosecute those felons who said, well, I made a mistake, I didn't know, I forgot. You can only prosecute people you have an intent to commit the crime. And enough felons were stupid enough to say, I not only shouldn't have voted, but I knew I shouldn't have voted, and I did it anyway. What's it to you, copper? We have almost 200 of those felons convicted in Minneapolis and St. Paul and other surrounding areas, 66 more in the pipeline, dozens more being investigated. Dennis, we may end up with more people convicted of voting illegally in the Al Franken election than Al Franken's margin of victory.
And that's convicted.
They are convicted of a felony.
Yeah, no. I'm just saying,
illegally.
No. The point that I'm making is that's only the convicted ones. We don't even know of the ones who have not been convicted.
Yes, and in addition, there were absentee ballots that were cast that were illegal. There were people who voted from out of state.